everyone. Welcome back. I'm Evelyn Fabiano, Strategy and Marketing Director for Baker Hughes. And I want to thank you for joining us today again, right? So I appreciate all of you being still connected with us. And I can see here our audience is still growing, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. Muito obrigada. Gracias. We know that this America event is reaching out to several countries in the Americas. So thank you very much. As I said in our previous sessions, it's the last session for the Americas. However, in a couple of weeks, we'll be having this event in Europe time zone with a little bit of different speakers, a little bit changes in our agenda, but it's all because of you. It's because you're great feedback. It's because you made this event so successful. So we'll be repeating this. Please share with your peers in other regions, and we really appreciate your support on that. So we are now joined by Alex Inwa and Asal Nabili. Alex joined us from Aberdeen, the UK, where he's the global growth leader for our services and offshore product line. He leads our business development strategy for the Growth Initiatives Hub. And Asal comes from our oil field services product company. She's based in Stavanger, Norway. She leads our global IO3 and remote operations for integrated well solutions at Baker Hughes. So this session right now will be about the global symptom that we are facing, right? Where data leads, real-time feedback, and connection are expected. Today, business complexity requires for us to evolve the way we share projects and services information in the oil and gas industry, from a reporting culture to true transparency and collaboration. And we just saw that in the plenary session with Mark Hudson from BP, right? How much value they were able to get from the digital platforms that they are using. So nowadays, with COVID-19, this collaboration and connectivity, it's more critical than ever before. And this environment is forcing us to adapt to a new normal. Digital technology and products like engageSubsea play a key role in turning this unprecedented challenge into opportunities. So by making our industry more contemporary and remotely collaborating with our customers. Over the next 20 minutes, Alex and Asal will talk about engageSubsea platform and oil fields remote support and how it's delivering success to our customers' day-to-day operations. So digitalization is real, and we are doing it already. So after the presentation, we'll open up for questions. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'll now hand over to Alex.
Thank you, Evelyn. Hello, everyone, and good morning. I'm humbled and excited for you to join us today on Subsea Connect TV. As you've heard from Ben and the other presenters talk about getting more from a mature field, leveraging intervention and upgrades, this morning, Asal and I will talk about our digital platform called engageSubsea and also our remote services and how it's really supporting our customers to be able to lower their production costs, improve HSC, and also reduce our carbon footprint. Asal, can you give me an experience that you went through during the lockdown when you were in the pandemic in Norway?
Yeah, definitely, Alex. I can share that being here by myself, Netflix played a critical role to keep me occupied. Having that platform that was super user-friendly, being able to navigate through different movies, and also having recommendations from Netflix on the other movies that I can watch, and using those data on recommending a newer type of applications, it was game-changing.
You know what? I agree with you. When we had a lockdown here, I found myself watching a lot of Netflix, and as you said, it has a very user-friendly platform. But for me, what also amazed me was the analytics behind the scenes and the fact that it was able to recommend what kind of video to be able to watch. So imagine if we had such a user-friendly platform in the oil and gas industry, something that is cloud-based, something that has a bit of analytics, and it's also very user-friendly. Guess what? We do have one, and it's called engageSubsea. On engageSubsea, we have 4 models. We have the remote support, we have the offshore asset management, we have the order management and condition monitoring. So this morning, Asal and I will give you a flavor of how this platform works. But I need you to do me a favor today. I want you to kick back, sit down, and get ready for an awesome discussion on engageSubsea and remote services and how it's making an impact in the oil industry.
Let the fun begin.
Now, listening to Ben and Mark during their plenary session, it is true that remote support or services has come to stay. And it's obviously because of the coronavirus. Just this weekend, I was reading an article on the Wall Street Journal, and it talked about the oil and gas industry is going remote. As a matter of fact, they had a very catchy term for it. They call it home oil field.
That is definitely true, Alex. It is amazing to be part of this transition and look how the data and the digitalization and real-time connectivity is changing how we are operating and the future of oil and gas.
Indeed, right? So let me give you a scenario, right? So imagine if we have a pressure test cap in a test bay, and we need to be able to do a pressure test. And we know the current restriction, there are a lot of borders closed, and you cannot easily move around. Typically, you have the customer asking for a third-party inspector to go and witness this inspection. Now, a couple of things will be at play. It means that this inspector needs to travel from whatever location he or she is. The person has to be able to spend money in travel cost. The person is also going to be exposed in terms of this pandemic that is going on, right? Fast forwarding it, if this inspector can sit comfortably in his or her home and remotely he or she is able to do this visual inspection. But guess what? It doesn't stop there. After that, this inspector will be able to sign on it and say, guess what? I've done this inspection and everything is going perfectly. Personally, this is the power of the remote support module on engageSubsea.
Definitely, Alex, and that doesn't stop there just on the inspection phase of it. On the real-time application aspect of it, we have performed several pressure testing completely remotely when it comes to the well construction aspect of it, with the cementer sitting in the remote operations center and directly being connected into the rigs and performing those tests and even the cement jobs. This has been enabling us to continually operate on a lot of the platforms and the rigs that we have throughout this COVID-19 pandemic.
So Asal, I have a story for you. You know I used to go offshore, right? And sometimes you tend to have a bad day. And I remember one particular time I was offshore and I had a problem with my tool. I called my technical advisor, this is an expert engineer on the beach, asked him for help. I explained everything I had to do. Listen, I went through the operational manual. I did all the diagnostics that is required, but I couldn't really figure out the problem. Now, fast forwarding it, FSCs don't need to go through such a problem anymore. When they have a problem on the rig floor, we have live feed being from a satellite to beach, and at the end of the day, we'll be able to support them. Now, the beauty about this is that if you have any operational issue, because we're able to do this remotely, we're able to cut down the downtime and we're able to quickly expedite how we need to solve this problem. Personally, this is the power of the remote support model on engageSubsea.
Definitely, Alex. And this is like having the specialties and expertise at your fingerprint 24/7, being able to react and be responsive to the different challenges that their customers are facing is the power of this remote operation aspect.
No, I love it. I love it.
Let me share with you like a great true example and implementation of this remote operation services. In the North Sea, we have implemented a new model of the operation called Integrated Operation Level 3, where we have partnered with one of the key customers that we have in order to transition more than 50% of the task from offshore to a remote operations center, where our specialists are working in a safe environment, focused on providing the best solutions for our customers, working with a multi-skilled personnel offshore that are handling the tools per the applications across the portfolios. We have been leading this and we have been pioneering the implementation of this higher level 3 model. But not only that, this has enabled us to provide a more consistent and reliable services across the well construction aspect of it. This has provided us with the opportunity to also utilize the digitalization and automation applications to utilize the data that we have from the well construction and make smarter decisions. So the directional driller that is sitting in the remote operations center is able to not only collaborate with other directional drillers that have a significant amount of expertise across the platforms, but also utilize those data that has been gathered through the well construction from the previous wells to make the smarter decision. We also have, as I mentioned, several pressure testing as well as a cement job that have been done fully or remotely, as well as the capabilities on monitoring the fluids completely remotely. So this is the power of the remote operation as we were talking about, Alex.
So Asal, you're talking about Norway, right? And three examples come to mind. There was one where we had to provide a visual inspection, and at the same time, we had to do an HSC audit. When that happened, obviously, we know what was going on, and the customer couldn't be inside the workshop to be able to do this HSC audit. Now, leveraging this remote support, we're able to do this HSC audit perfectly. Another thing was there was a UTH welding that was required. And the same thing, we had to be able to do this remotely. So we had an inspector sitting in a different region, and we were able to do this welding perfectly. The last thing, which I think Ben alluded a bit about during the plenary session, was a wellhead that we were able to do remotely. So we had an FSC, a very junior FSC, which had to be able to go and step up to go and do the job. Listen, I've been in the cases where I had to go and do a job and I didn't have the experience, and I wish I had someone to be able to back me up. Now, in this situation, leveraging the remote support, we had an experienced FSC sitting in Singapore, and he was able to have a live feed to the rig floor to be able to support this junior FSC to be able to do this wellhead installation, and it went perfectly.
No, that is exactly true, Alex. Now we have our experts sitting in the close approximately, and they are, when the challenges are coming across, they are working together on making the best decisions for our customers across a different platform, across a different expertise. This doesn't only impact that, but it has a direct impact on the HSME and the safety of the personnel, as well as on the carbon footprint that we have. With less travels, with the faster response time to the actions and the real-time operations, we're able to deliver a more consistent well construction results. But this doesn't stop here, Alex. This capabilities and the data and the expertise that we have, we're building on this capabilities on transforming the way that we are operating, not only for ourselves, but partnering with our customers and the rig contractors and other suppliers to deliver that win-win scenario.
So it's true. I mean, for me, when I think about engageSubsea, it's not just the remote support. There is also the condition monitoring, which is also another key module that is on the engageSubsea platform. So just a couple of days back, I got a call from one of my customers in Latin America. They had acquired a big field, and the customer was like, Alex, we have a problem when it comes to the integrity of our equipment and also that of the flow assurance. What can we do? Now, the million-dollar question is, how can we increase equipment availability, leveraging predictive form of maintenance?
But Alex, we all know how important it is to have the right equipment on the rig at the right time with the certifications, and having this condition monitoring and being able to see the link when these equipments are needed, as well as the quality of them and when the maintenance is needed, so we can minimize the amount of time that is required to perform the maintenance. It plays a critical role.
Indeed, right. Let me pivot to the Netflix analogy that we used. So here's the case that you have this platform and you're able to stream loads of video in a day. So imagine if you have a mature field and you have the ability to be able to connect and display data, be it hydraulics, electrical, comms, and you're not just displaying it. On top of that, you're able to get some form of trend analytics to be able to determine what kind of maintenance or intervention that you need to be able to do. That is the power of the condition monitoring model. So in the condition monitoring model, we're able to have apps that allow us to be able to display electrical, communications, hydraulics, and then we're able to give you some form of advisory or recommendations in terms of the maintenance you need to do. At the end of the day, this is able to help you to be able to do timely maintenance to prevent any form of downtime.
That's exactly.
So I agree with you, Asal. I think for me, it's not just the condition monitoring tool that we need to think about too. We also have to look about on-time delivery. If it happens that you need to deliver a work order, how do you ensure that you deliver it on time?
Well, usually we get connected with the customers and the project managers, as well as the procurement leaders, and go and gather the data on if we have the right project execution, as well as like when we are able to deliver the assets.
Indeed, Asal. So I will tell you a scenario. I remember when I got a call also from a customer asking that, hey, Alex, where am I with this work order? And the order model management tool allows us to be able to do that. So what happens is that instead of the customer calling me and asking for an update, he or she will be able to go into this model and will be able to understand exactly what phase the work order is. Personally, this is collaboration and transparency at work.
And Alex, like when it comes into the operational excellence, that transparency and having the close collaboration plays a key part. Having that close collaboration, talking to each other, adjusting the different timelines to when the assets are going to be on the rig, it is going to make the change on the way that we are operating.
I agree. Now, I have another story for you. So when I used to go offshore, there will be a time where when I get there, obviously, I'm going to go through HSC induction, and then I also have to probably go and find where my cabin is. But lastly, after that, I need to go and find my tool and determine what kind of maintenance that is required. Now, with the offshore asset management, instead of me getting to the location and then finding out whether my tool has been certified, finding out whether I have spares available, all of this is not required anymore. As a matter of fact, the FSC, before he or she goes offshore, he'll be able to go into the offshore asset management model and will be able to determine the status of the equipment on the rig. On top of that, too, the company man has that flexibility to also go check for himself to be able to see what tool is available, has it been certified, and also do we have spares available to be able to do any form of maintenance. Once again, this is we being transparent and also being collaborative with our customer.
But having that right tool, Alex, and having the right certifications and qualifications, it is critical to make sure that the operations are on time and we're delivering to the operational excellence that is needed. The project execution, that transparency and partnership with our customers is what is delivering the best perfect well that we were talking about. But this doesn't stop here, Alex. Like this global footprint that we have and the capabilities that we have built on the remote operation services is across the globe, and they are connected internally to make sure that we are sharing the experiences, the lessons learned, as well as providing the best service to our customers 24/7. We have more than 19 centers globally that are working together and more than 400 specialists that are in these centers providing real-time operation, monitoring, as well as supporting services on the technical challenges that are ongoing on the rigs, as well as the futuristic data gathering. These are all enabled through digitalization and automation.
So anytime I think about remote services, and I will tell you, it doesn't just end when drilling is over, or it doesn't end when the FSC leaves the rig or that of the FPSO. It has to be at the life of the field. So take, for instance, if we have an engineer who's on FPSO and he or she gets an alert and they don't really know what this alert is about and they require some form of immediate support. Leveraging the remote services model, the engineer will be able to use the chatbot, or if there's a need for us to have a live feed, we'll be able to see exactly what is going on the FPSO. And at the same time, we'll be able to provide a recommendation on how to be able to fix it. So once again, this actually shows how much remote services is there for the entire life of the field.
Definitely, and that agile responsiveness and the streamlining across all of it is what making the engageSubsea and remote services super critical. Having these two services, it enables a more efficient, a safer, and a more productive operations. We are working, as we mentioned several times, we are working with our customers in close collaboration, and not only with the customers, but also with the rig contractors and the other suppliers to make sure that we are delivering to that win-win situation to perform the operational excellence.
And I thought you talked about operational excellence. For me, the way I see it is, and I think Ben and Mark alluded a bit about during the plenary session, it also talks about automation. And the way we need to look at it is how can we leverage data to be able to do some predictability to ensure that we are more efficient and also productive.
Definitely, Alex, and that goes into how we are enabling the perfect well performance. and the best results for our customers through this remote operation and the multi-skilling and providing the automation and digitalization.
Indeed, right? So personally, anytime I think about engageSubsea and remote services, I think about it as a digital enabler, and I think it connects to our Subsea Connect vision. And the fact of it is that this actually does three things for our customer. One is that it's able to lower our production costs. The reason is we're able to do things remotely and more smarter. The next thing is it helps us to be able to improve our HSC, the fact that we don't put our FSCs and our customer in a risky position. And lastly is the carbon footprint. Listen, we are in a world which is changing and we need to be mindful of our environment. So any way we can reduce carbon footprint to make it safer for us and that of our kids is what we need to do. So thank you.
So thank you very much, Alex and Asal, for this great session. It always amazes me how much evolution we did so far, and a great experience I had. I used to go to project reviews and go in with those huge binders and so many paper, and now you need to talk to something. No, go to binder 1 or 2, and now it's all online, and you open the system, it's all there. You can check the information real time, collaborate with the customer. So it's amazing, this evolution. And thank you very much for sharing your experience with us today. And of course, Asal, I can't even start and imagine how you do cementing or drilling a well remotely. This really is a huge step change. I don't know how to start that. Thank you for that. So we have some questions from our audience. I will start with Alex. So Alex, we talked about BP a little bit, but have we deployed engageSubsea to any customers?
Yes, we have. So I mean, engageSubsea has been deployed in APAC region for a couple of customers already. We've done that also in the UK and also SSC. We are getting really good traction in terms of the usage of the platform.
That's great. So Asal, for you, we were talking about the remote operations, and I presume that trust and collaborations are keys to implement a solution like this, right? What are the challenges within your customer base you faced, and how did you overcome them?
I think that the challenge is on breaking the barriers and adapting to a new model, on believing on the remote accessibility and the connections, and transitioning the task from offshore to remote operations. So we did this through a transition process where we provided shadow expertise on the rig as we were transitioning the task into a remote operations center to make sure not only that we are transitioning the task with a high quality, but we're taking the safety of the operations at the highest priority.
Yeah, safety first for sure. So Alex, we were talking about this great platform, engageSubsea. Where's the timeline from when the customer decides to implement engageSubsea, when they can access their projects and services data, how it works?
So, I mean, as I mentioned, we've already deployed this for a couple of our customers already. Roughly in terms of timeline, we're looking at roughly 1 to 3 months to be able to go live.
Okay. Asal, I think for wells, it's something much more prepared. You have a forecast and everything. But what is the mobilization looks like? What's the timeline? How it works?
We usually partner with our customers and the rig contractors to understand the operational challenges and the operational model that is implemented on the different platforms. And then we navigate through designing the specific transition process that enables not only the task to transition, but also the existing resources that are on the rig to adapt into a new model. As we discussed, like this is a true evolution on the way that we're performing the well construction. So making sure that all of the parties are working together and we have that win-win scenario in mind, it really enables that. So the process can take, the adoption of the process can vary significantly across the different customers.
Okay, and just to follow up on that, how it works, the collaboration with the rig, how this is?
We usually partner with the rig contractors to make sure that not only, because this revolution and changing, specifically when it comes to the well construction aspect of it, it also involves the rig contractor personnel and experts at the rig, such as the driller, the company man, that now instead of talking to someone on the rig, they need to connect to the remote operations center. In order to do that, we go through the significant amount of transition and evolution, making sure that they are trained on how to utilize these resources and the tools that they have available to them. Not only that, to make sure that the quality of the connections are at the highest level and they are able to directly connect with them at the real time.
Okay, thank you. So Alex, we have a question here from the audience talking about artificial intelligence that you mentioned it a little bit earlier. So can you talk a little bit more how engageSubsea utilizes that?
Sure. So, I mean, from the AI standpoint, and as I mentioned, we have a point where we need to connect and be able to display the data. Once we start to get that data will then be used for a period of time, and we're able to know trends. And based on the trends, we're able to do that advisory. All of this has behind the scenes an AI algorithm that is being used for that.
Okay. So what about when we think about the source of the database, right? How it's updated? What is the integrity of the data when it comes to engageSubsea?
So with engageSubsea, and I'm just going to leverage the remote support, right? It's all live video coming from the rig, and then you're able to view it from engageSubsea platform. From the documentation standpoint, we also take the data from an ERP system. So you don't have any form of manual interruption in terms of the data. So it's either coming live from video or we're having to take it straight from an ERP system. And that's how live the data is.
Okay, thank you. So could you comment a little bit more the link between digital and the CO2 reduction, emissions reduction?
Sure. Okay, go for it, Asal. Sorry.
We have, like, previously when we talked about, like, the example that we shared on the integrated operation level 3 that was implemented in North Sea. Previously, the field specialists and the experts had to travel to the rig, stay on the rig in some cases, and in some other cases just perform the task and come down. Now with the remote operation capabilities, that requirements to travel to the rig, getting on the car, traveling to the rig, getting on the helicopter, on the rig and back has been minimized. And now we have the people that are located within the same cities working in the remote operation centers and minimizing that significant amount of CO2 emission.
Yeah. So is there a lot of buzz on digital and how difficult to know if it's real? How do you keep your solutions practical and real? Alex, could you help us with that?
Sure. So I think for me, it's about how we train our FSCs to be able to use it, right? The technology is real. So anytime we have our FSCs get into a bind, they can easily leverage our remote support to be able to call for support. Like as Asal and I discussed in terms of order management, if the customer wants to be able to view a work order, they can go into engageSubsea and see it for themselves. Likewise, when I mentioned condition monitoring, if the customer wants to be able to view data from the field, he will be able to do it through engageSubsea. So all of this is real. We have the platform up and running. We have customers already signed to it, and they'll be able to see exactly what they want to get out of the platform. So it is real.
Okay, thank you. Asal, people were saying here in the audience that they really love what we are doing with remote services. So how did you convince our customers that this can be trusted? That's a hard one.
Initial implementation in North Sea, this was one of the key customers' ideas. So they came to us asking for this new model because it was really critical to reduce the number of personnel on board, to utilize this bed space, to utilize this capacity that was available on the rig for more critical operations as well. Having more than 50% of the service operators transition to a remote operations center, that freed up about 6 to 7 bed space that now they're utilizing for more operations and enabling faster production for the rigs. This was not only like stop there, now we're working with more customers that have reached out to us also wanting to learn about this model more because it is so critical to make sure that we have the safety of our personnel at the top level the CO2 reduction at the fingertips, as well as improving the productivity and efficiency of the wells, and looking into how consistent and reliable the delivery of these well constructions are through the remote operation, that collaboration that is enabled across the experts, and the additional results that are provided through that, those are like the key enablers. That it's a no-brainer, it's a no-sale, it's something.
Yeah, I truly believe that when we talk about a reduction of people on board, yes, it's a it's a good advantage for sure. So we're now we have a last one. Okay, so does your early engagement help customers understand the full potential of digital? Alex, could you answer that?
Definitely. So there is this customer we have in North America, and they're just about to start a new field. And what they asked was that they need to be able to sit down with us to be able to understand how they can incorporate digital early, to be able to monitor flow, to be able to look at the equipment integrity. And then we came in to be able to advise them in terms of equipment setup and how digital needs to be integrated. So going back to early engagement, once we start that discussion early, we're able to sort of do a roadmap on how to be able to phase the entire digital platform for the customer. And that is how we do it for our customer currently in North America and also globally.
Okay, thank you. So time already passed, so we're almost in the end of our session. I want to say thank you for Alex and Asal. This has been a great session. And again, I'm always learning every time that I talk to you guys. So thank you very much. So for our audience, our audience, please remember that you can still navigate into our digital solutions fair, dive into Subsea, check our equipment, our solutions. It's a great resource if you want to know a little bit more about what Baker Hughes is doing. Thank you for joining us today. I hope to see you in the next session, where Christina and Paul will talk about flow assurance, production chemistry, making a marginal field economical. I hope you keep connected with us, and I see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.